What's going on, everybody? It's David Palmer, Leo King, and this is my show, Uncut Astrology, where I take off the mask or the veil and I give you this week's astrological forecast for the week of January 6th through the 11th of 2015. And welcome to the new year, everybody. Happy New Year. I know last week we didn't do the typical uncut horoscope. That's because I did a 2016 forecast. So if you haven't watched that yet, make sure you check it out on my YouTube channel or on my app. It's awesome. And of course, if you want to get my daily horoscopes every day, you can get it on my application, Leo King. You can get it on Android and Apple or leoking.looksack.com. And my January 2016 horoscope is up. It is now available at inclusiveastrology.com. But let's get raw and real into this week. I got to be very honest with you. One of the most powerful weeks to start the year off with. And if you just look at the astrology of this whole year, this is definitely one of the most powerful weeks of the year. Not because it is the beginning of the year, but because of so many astrological things happening at once. It's almost overwhelming, to be honest with you. I have so much to talk about for this horoscope. I'm going to try and get it all done as quickly as possible and give you as much information as possible too. And if you are not one that is into astrology much, I'm going to do my best to explain this all, but I have to name off the astrology stuff because it is so overwhelming this week. Number one, you got to remember, this is a crazy week. Mercury retrograde. So Mercury has stopped and gone backwards in Aquarius. Aquarius is an air sign. Mercury is an air-ruled planet. So this is the last of the air sign retrogrades. So this is bringing unpredictability. It's also making things come out of left field. And you know, with Uranus, which rules Aquarius, it could be good or bad. It could be detrimental to your life because you need to ascend better, or you need to, get over a hump better in your life. Uranus awakens you to where you are not doing things that you should be. But the good news is if you're in right alignment with things and you're in harmony with the universe, Uranus brings you great fortune in unpredictable ways. It's the planet of luck, Uranus. And having this Mercury retrograde be ruled here, I think is showing us, as we start this week, like, oh my gosh, like, here's all these unpredictable news. It's Mercury too, these weird things coming out of left field that you're trying to deal with. This is all on top of while the sun is conjuncting Pluto and squaring Uranus. This is the final touch of the Pluto-Uranus square. This has to deal with the true resetting inside, the true getting to the depth of what you want, what you don't want. And with a square to Uranus, it's saying, hey, it's important to have this structure in your life and these things that you desire and you want. But in order to get there, you have to try new things. You have to ascend. You have to face your fears in ways that you haven't done before. You have to find courage. And this is a week where we are coming into the things we want, but approaching them in mental and emotional ways that we're not used to, that trigger us, that might bring up fears, that might bring up parts of ourselves that we need to go about it differently. And I think that that's so important to understand coming into this week. This is also a week where Venus squaring Neptune. This is the Cinderella syndrome, I like to call it, because when Venus and Neptune square, it could seem really nice, in a relationship or something going on. It's magic, but it only lasts for a little bit, especially with Saturn that's in Sagittarius, and Venus meets up with Saturn this week. So it's a true Cinderella story. It's like, oh, there's all this magic, and there's all these great things, and possibly with Mercury going retrograde in Aquarius, it's like, wow, all these great things come, but there's work to do. There's realistic aspects that kind of smack us midweek, end of the week after we get all this magic. So the glass slippers and the carriage turns back to a pumpkin, and you kind of deal with things. But there's a moment of magic this week that we start off with that's like, wow. And then we have to do something about it. And I think a lot of this is about self-growth because it's the Pluto-Uranus square being highlighted. I think a lot of this as well is Jupiter is going retrograde. Now, Jupiter is a planet about expansion and growth, and it's in detriment. It's in the sign of Virgo, which means it's not in its best place. Virgo is a very small, analytical, pinpointy sign. It wants to figure things out in this way and that way in this direction. Jupiter is big and explosive, and it doesn't focus on one point. It focuses on a million different points. And we are learning to expand our life by getting into a rhythm better, by focusing on things more, by getting into the right kind of schedule. This is also looking at health and so forth. But with Jupiter in the North Node conjuncting and a retrograde happening the same week that Mercury's retrograding, our higher and lower mind are shifting. Our beliefs are shifting. Our outlook of life is shifting. And when Jupiter retrogrades, this is where we receive the gifts that you have been pushing forward towards since Jupiter went direct, which I think, I should have done my math, but I think it was, I know it was late winter, early spring of 2015. But the main thing is Jupiter entered Virgo in September 2015, and this is really where you're going to see the gifts come. The gifts that you have been pushing forward and expanding, and the things that you have expanded with in your life are going to start coming back to you from now until May 9th. That's how long Jupiter is going to retrograde. So realize that this could be a big week for you of starting to receive the things that you have been pushing forward towards and the new reality you created, and you really starting to experience the life that you've been trying to create for the last 3 to 4 months. It's almost like you can really start to reap the benefits of this. Another main aspect this week is, of course, Mars has entered Scorpio. We haven't got to talk about this yet. And it was squaring Mercury as the retrograde happened. So do not push things too hard. You know, even though there's this feeling that we need to push things hard, I think that we're learning to disconnect a little bit and learn to look at all the options. I think that's a big theme with Jupiter retrograde, combining with this aspect. The other thing is Mercury is going to retrograde back into Capricorn when we're going to get ready for a new moon in Capricorn this weekend. And so this is so much stuff happening this week. The new moon this weekend is going to be the big signal of, wow, all these things were started to show up. All these things started to retreat into my life. Now I got to make some big decisions if I'm going to do them or not. What is the path that I want? By this weekend, we have to start making some big decisions in a time where decisions are not easy. But this is a Mercury retrograde in Capricorn coming, and this is a new moon in Capricorn. And so with Pluto here, and after the Sun, Pluto, Uranus square, and over the ascension that you came through this week and the growth you came through this week, you now have seen what you can deal with, what you can't, and whether or not you're going to take this trail or that trail or this direction by this week's end. That's because as we come into the beginning of next week on Monday and Tuesday, as we come towards January 10th, 11th, this is when the sun is starting to trine Jupiter. And so we're going to get ready for the big Sun-Jupiter day. But we're also getting ready for Venus, which has been over Saturn, which is making big decisions on relationships, big decisions on what you're manifesting in your life. And it's coming towards by, I think, really Monday, Tuesday, especially Tuesday when we're at the precipice of the Sun-Jupiter day, which is technically Wednesday when we come back to the next Horoscope Uncut, is when you're going to see a big liftoff happen over all the developments that happened this week, and especially the decisions you made of which direction to take. There are choices to make. We just went through a very rare moment over the last couple of weeks where all the planets were direct, and now they have not done that. The universe pulled the levers this week. It gave us a very rare moment to build new karma, and now we're going to start to receive things that we have not received before. And this could be a good feeling. It could also be a very overwhelming feeling. There's a lot happening here. There's a lot of things to understand, and it's not easy to make big decisions when there's a Mercury retrograde. It's not easy to make big decisions when, you want to have a party, and that's Venus and Sag, and you want to have a lot of fun with it, but Saturn's there. It's teaching us to explore more, research more, and then it's squaring over to Neptune and Chiron, the wounds and the sensitivities, and this is about us having to kind of step up, that there are amazing gifts in front of us, that there are all these amazing things in our life right now that we're starting to receive, but how do we move forward into them with confidence? How do we move forward with them without our sensitivities affecting us, without our emotions taking us away, and remain positive and not making sure that our belief structure and our thoughts, because our higher and our lower mind are retrograding this week, do not break down the beautiful gifts and the great new decisions and roads that we are at this week. That's your Uncut Horoscope for this week. I hope that makes sense to you. I am sending you nothing but beautiful love and light. I am hoping that everything goes well for you this year. I thank you so much for all the support on the Leo King channel, by subscribing, by getting me on the app. In any way possible that you can help me, I appreciate it. Just by sharing these videos and getting the information out that I give for free to everybody is the main thing. I appreciate you so much. I am thinking about you so much. We will be doing a spiritual dance music. I don't know which day, so follow me on Facebook, Snapchat, or Instagram to find out that. If you don't know, my Snapchat is DJ David Palmer. My Instagram is at The Leo Kingdom, and my Facebook is David Lawrence Palmer. I appreciate you so much. Thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. I truly appreciate it, and I will see you next week.